What happens when a game holds a mirror up to fear, not just the fear of monsters, but of each other, of choices, of guilt? Until Dawn didn't just test my reflexes, it tested the part of me that wonders, if it came down to it, who would I be? The game begins with loss, two sisters, Hannah and Beth Washinton, a prank and a group of friends who never truly healed, but grief doesn't end in the snow. It lingers, it reshapes people. From the very beginning, Until Dawn isn't just about survival, it's about emotional damage, about the things we suppress and the ways trauma leaks out when we pretend everything is okay. So will this reunion a year later to the date set up the last surviving sibling, Josh Washington, to keep the group together? As I played, I felt like a director guiding improv actors with no script, only reactions. Except I wasn't removed from it. I was emotionally tethered to it. Every choice I made pulled on something in me. A gut reaction, a bias, a fear. When Jessica died, it wasn't just game over, it was failure. I replayed those seconds in my head, wondering what I missed, what I could have done faster. That's not just a typical gaming loss, that's guilt. That's accountability. I was frustrated with the 2 missed button presses I had on Mike's segment, but I had to keep pushing forward. And so, then there's Josh. If grief changed the group, it unmade him entirely. The more I watched, the more I saw Dr. Hill not as a real person, but as Josh's superego. The fractured voice of his subconscious. Guilt, shame, denial, they all took form. Dr. Hill was the judge, the voice. Josh tried to keep composed. It didn't work. What happens when you're the only one left to carry the grief and everyone else moves on? The Wendigos were terrifying, yes, but they were also symbolic, symbols of what's created when people are pushed to past humanity. Of the most disturbing notes I found, a doctor knowingly leaves a minor to starve with only human remains left. Doesn't try to save the man, creates the monster. And that felt like commentary on systems that fail, on cruelty in the name of science, on how desperation eats at the soul before it takes the body, or how another monster creates another monster. And so, continuing on, the death of the flamethrower man hit harder than I expected, maybe because I saw him as the last remaining protector. Not a hired hand, but a ghost of responsibility. A man too late to prevent the first tragedy, and too isolated to stop the next. His death didn't feel like failure, it felt like inevitability. Like he had been burning out long before the flames got him. I wish he was seen as a groundskeeper for the Washington family, but that's just me. And so I related most to Ashley, curious, cautious, wanting to help, but unsure how much to trust her instincts. Every character represented a side of fear. Fear of being alone, of being forgotten, of being useless. My reactions told me something about myself. That I prioritized empathy. That I hesitate when logic and emotion collide. That part of me wants to fix things, even when it's too late. And so for my first playthrough, in my final thoughts, Matt survived, Jessica didn't. Josh succumbed to his mind. Well, it got reduced to a chunky pulp, but I saw it all coming and still couldn't stop it. That's the genius of Until Dawn. It lets you think you're in control when really you're just unraveling. Like the characters, like Josh, like anyone who's ever made a choice they can't take back. If you want a very memorable game, I highly recommend Until Dawn. Even after 10 years, the game holds up to this day. The game gives you a lingering feeling of what if long after you let the credits roll. I give Until Dawn an 8.9 out of 10. And so, for my closing remarks is that not every horror game asks who you are by the end. This one did, and I left the mountain wondering not what I did wrong, but what part of me made those decisions. Until Dawn might be fiction, but the echoes of our fears, those are always going to be real. My name is Kite562, and this was my story on Blackwood Mountain. 2 lost, 6 survived, but none left unchanged. So I highly recommend you play this game when you have the chance. Again, I played the original on the PS5, which is really great and a really enjoyable experience. So again, I give it an 8.9 out of 10. So be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the content on this channel. I'm your host, Kite562 of Kite562 Books and Manga Reviews, signing out. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day or evening. Later.